Welcome back to the channel. This is BTE TV, and I am Tony Jackson. Today, I have a very, very special guest, and we are going to be discussing the subject of the true nature of this flat plane that we live on, among other things. But first, I want to welcome back Vinny B and Grady. Guys, thank you both for being here. And now I want to introduce someone who is a legend in the truth community. I am honored to have him on my channel, and this was very unexpected, but I am truly flattered to have Mr. Dave Weiss. Thank you so much for being here, Dave. I am a huge fan and a longtime fan, and I have you to thank for leading me to the truth about the Earth being flat many years ago. You're one of the first people that really stuck out from the rest. So again, Dave, thank you. Welcome to the channel. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Vinny.
Yeah, thanks, Tony, and good introduction. Yeah, I mean, for people who know me on Tony's channel, the last show we were on, we brought up a certain guy in the flat earth community who calls himself the fittest, who likes to slander people, call me a Mason, and he called Dave a Satanist, and you brought that up, and right away I got defensive for Dave because I love Dave. I know him personally, and I know he's not some Satanist. And I said, why don't we get Dave on the show and you could talk to Dave yourself and see what an awesome guy he is. Dave, to me, has done more than anybody for the flat earth community since probably like 2016 or around that time. So, I've done shows with Dave many times. I was excited to bring him for you and Grady and your audience. And I thought it would be cool for Dave to explain for people who don't know a little bit about himself. Obviously, you, your audience, and all of us, we're flat earthers, so there's no reason for a debate over if the Earth's flat. So I thought, we could start off with Dave telling people, how he became a flat earther and some of stuff about himself.
Um,
So
sure,
yeah,
happy to do it. Look, quick question. It's just a question. I take no sides.
yeah.
Is someone calling you a Freemason? Is that a slander?
Well, I guess for him, I don't know. Like,
Well,
I
he
don't
says it
really
in a
care.
negative way for sure.
Yeah,
But I mean, I think there are good Freemasons out there that aren't evil. But again, I don't know. I don't know crap about them. I really don't care. But
yeah. Well, I've met Freemasons that are like just regular people who
yeah,
who
that's what I'm
aren't
saying.
part of some, Satanist cabal. That's probably why they stay low level and don't get up to 33rd
Probably,
degree.
probably.
But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
I,
don't condemn people and especially as myself, calling myself a Christian. I'm very big on not judging others. God is going to judge people, and Jesus clearly like told the disciples and people like, not to judge others. We're all flawed individuals. We should be focusing on ourselves. We're all supposed to love even our enemies. So,
Amen.
so,
Amen.
so
Mhm.
yeah,
well,
I don't understand why Tyler or anybody that is Christian would attack other people, whether Mason or whatever.
it's crazy. I was actually communicating with him a lot. I considered him a friend. He was like moving to Florida, I think, and he was driving down the 95 corridor. He was going to be coming through Connecticut, and I was like, "Hey, come on, stop down with the wife and the dogs, and we'll go out on the boat." I was like, that was the whole plan. He goes, "Oh, I couldn't stop, whatever." And then a couple of days later, I forget the timeline exactly. He messages me and he goes, I want you to answer this before I go make it public. I'm giving you a chance, right? And I was talking. He had a video. I had a still frame. I was talking about the Knickerbocker beam, which is a radio beam that went from. I went from here to here. I went like that. There, I just did it. So Kyler clip that, right? And
Yeah,
that was the 666 symbol. I'm like, how else do you represent a beam? You know,
yeah.
like, and that was the basis for him completely flipping on me.
Yeah,
And
it's amazing.
and I was just like, really? And he literally went, he made like 100 videos about me. I was like, I couldn't care less. So
Yeah,
it is
no,
what
I
it
think
is.
it makes us look bad. It causes infighting.
Yep.
It's just, with me, Dave, he reached out to me. I was actually doing a Millennial Kingdom show on this guy's channel in the UK because I never even heard of Tyler. I'm not on Facebook. I'm not
Yeah.
on Instagram, Twitter, or anything. So I didn't even know who he was. And he reached out to me and was like, "Oh man, that was the best show." And then he introduced me to two other flat earthers who had a podcast called Firmamental.
Yeah.
And he was like, you know, go on their channel. So he tells them about me and they're like, oh man, we heard great stuff. Come on our show. And I went and I did shows with them. And they're great guys, great Christian flat earthers that I'm still friends with. And then one day he starts attacking them, saying that they're Satanists. And then he writes me saying that they're Satanists. And I'm like, these are your friends, and I'm friends with them. They're not Satanists. They're like Christian. What are you talking about? And then he attacked me and said that I am a Freemason. And I said, you are a full retard. And I just, you know,
Yeah.
I've had my
So,
beef with him
so
since
we
then.
can only speculate what happens to him. A lot of people jump down. Oh, he's an agent. He's pushed by the algorithm. He's paid. I don't believe any of that crap. I believe that most of the people that do this stupid shit are possessed by evil spirits. Okay.
Mm,
That's
mm.
my belief, right? That they literally have demon possession, and there is a coordination between demons. Now, this sounds a little wild, especially if you don't believe in demons. If you don't believe in demons, fast forward. Um, that there's a guy named Jerry Marzinski. Have you ever hear of him? He's a psychiatrist that was working in the insane asylum, and he was assigned to the schizophrenic population, schizophrenia, where there's hearing voices in their heads, and all the other doctors, it was either you're still hearing voices, okay, more medication, more shock therapy. That's all it was, medication, shock therapy. So he started questioning them about the voices and asking questions and everything, and he found out that their hallucinations were actually very organized and not crazy, and they were all synchronized. Patients in different wards that never have any contact with each other were having synchronized hallucinations. Like the same
Hmm.
type of negative messages were coming in. And one patient said, "Hey, when I heard the voices, I read this verse out of the Bible, and the voices freak out and leave." And so he printed out that verse and gave it to all the other patients and just said, "When you hear the voices, read this, and never said, they didn't tell them anything else, and they all had the exact same experience. All right. So,
Mm.
and I've noticed on TikTok lives, if you listen to Angels of Light or other people that invite Globers up to present their glow proof, different days, all of them are on the same, they all have the same tack. They're all going after, call it insulting him, or they all use, they switch tacks, but in unison. It's bizarre. So I
Mhm.
think that, and to say someone's demon possessed, we all have little demons that get in and out of
Mhm.
us. But the more connected and grounded you are, especially, the more connected you are to God, I'll just say that, the less demons will be allowed in your life. You have to let them in. Right? They can't just
Yes.
come in. You have to let them in. And so many people are lost. Most of these people out there that are fighting flat earth, there are some that are paid for sure, but most of them are possessed.
Yeah. And that the access, Dave, is through our pride. And God will literally, it says, hand us over to our own delusions and even to demonic spirits. And
Yeah.
you see that in scripture.
Hey,
Yeah.
going back biblically, to a comment one of you made at the beginning is, we'll all be judged. Well, in the teaching of the Bible, it's taught that God is within us. We are part of God. So maybe that judgment is us judging ourselves. When we're done here on earth, that we judge ourselves as as viewed from God, if you will, or part of God. How does that resonate?
I understand what you're saying, but the only thing I think about is there's other parts where it's talking about like a white throne judgment, people being resurrected and standing before God for judgment. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I
I,
mean,
But
the
it's
way
interesting.
I just kind of view it as we're all a piece of God having this experience. So when we go back, we're being judged by the
Hmm.
complete, the complete consciousness.
yeah, and it's awesome to judge. It says judge yourself. That we
Yeah.
should be judging ourselves instead of other people. In the
Yes.
new covenant, Jesus talks about being born again, where you're born of the Holy Spirit, where he gives you a new mind, the mind of Christ, a new heart, a new will, where you become a new creature, a new creation, born of God, where you no longer live, but Jesus lives in you through the Holy Spirit. And that, the Spirit comes and convicts of sin, righteousness, and judgment to come. And we see that we fall short. We fall short of God's glory. And sin through the law becomes exceedingly sinful within us. And so we find ourselves in desperate need of a savior, where we see ourselves, okay, for what we are. In and of myself, I can do nothing good. Jesus said, I'm the vine, you're the branch. Apart from him, we can do nothing. And what happens in our age is this is the age of pride, where we stubbornly resist the Spirit of God at work. And even like we see it. And I use your videos all the time when I'm talking to people. The biblical cosmology is a great, it's a great lifeline for people to wake up. And you see that cognitive dissonance, the pride kick in. They stubbornly resist. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to know. And they have, whatever it is. And it's like, in that sense, when we are resisting him, it's like truth. The truth will set you free. And it's set, like when you get light on these different things, fake history, all the nonsense that we see in our age, it's like, whoa, the truth makes you free, and that includes biblical cosmology, flat Earth. And so, yeah, man,
I have found my mission. Whether I don't care what people believe, I feel that this is my calling by God. You can say it's just a delusion in my head. I really don't care. My calling is to help people from where I was. I was a non-God believer. And when I found out the earth was flat, it's not the shape, that it's intelligently designed. So there's no more there's no more ability to deny creation, when you're there. So once I was there, I realized that there is a creator. So it forced me. And so again, I don't have faith in there's a God. I know there's a God. So Amen. I take it to where I bring people where they know there's a God. And that's where I draw the line. Now, you have to figure out your own relationship with God. Now, people like you guys set good examples. Hey, this is my relationship. This is how I do it. But there's people that come after me, like, you said this or you said that and you're going to hell and the Bible said, they flip out on me, and I'm like, those people are what kept me away from God my entire life.
That's what I say to people. Yeah.
So because they're operating out of a different spirit, they're coming at you. Right. Is that how Jesus came at people?
Yeah. Romans 1:20 basically says, it basically says, once you see my creation, you can no longer deny my existence. So once I saw that the earth is intelligently designed, I could no longer deny. There's no more faith involved. It's gone, right? And that's why I believe they hide the flat earth, because if the whole world knew without any doubt that there was a creator, they'd start obeying the creator's laws and not the bull crap globe laws, right? You play on their ball field, you have to play by their ball field rules, not God's rules.
Well said. I mean, to me, there's those, you'll hear those comments like, well, what does it matter, the flat earth? And it's like, it does for like what you just said. And me, myself, Dave, just like you, I mean, I never considered myself an atheist. I believed in a higher power, but I didn't really know what.
Same.
But then when flat earth happened, like you said, it's like you right away know, like, this is a creation that you can't avoid. And then I started thinking too, like, one of the talking points that they teach us in school and through TV is ancestors thought the earth was flat, you'd fall off it. We're smart now. We know we're on a ball. The Bible was like this primitive flat earth book. And one of the first things you do, I even heard the famous UFC fighter, Rampage Jackson, recently say the same thing. He was like, he started talking about flat earth, and he said, the Bible talks about the earth being flat. And it was the same thing for me. It's like, wait a sec. So is the Bible actually telling the truth? Because everything's set to make it not believable, like it's Greek mythology or it's fake. And
the Bible talks truth, but science, pseudoscience, the stuff that they teach us in school, is literally anti-flat earth, anti-Bible. And I'll give you one of the stories which I've told before, but maybe you guys know it or not. I was born into a non-practicing Jewish family, David Weiss. Okay. I guess I'm Jewish. I couldn't even tell you my ancestry because I really couldn't care less. We went to temple when I was younger, just on holy holidays, and basically I just like, when's the food coming out? Right. And so I didn't really care about any of that. And, the point I was making, so junior high school, there was a young Christians organization called Young Life. And they were taking kids to Bermuda, and I wanted to go to Bermuda. It's going to be really fun. My mom's like, you can go, whatever. I'm like, cool. So I went on this Young Life trip to Bermuda, and we get there, and the counselor is like, hey, we're going to take a little hike, and takes us up to a cliff, beautiful cliff overlooking the ocean, sits us down, and he says, we're going to do a little Bible study. And I'm like, that's totally strange to me, right? I've never even considered looking at a Bible. How old was I in seventh grade? 13, whatever. And the first passage he read was where the stars fell to the earth. You guys know what passage that is? Not that it matters.
Oh yeah.
There's a whole bunch, right? Where the stars fell to the earth. And I was like, a star falling to the earth. A star is the size of a house and the earth is the size of a flea, right? I go, the stars can't fall to the earth. And I discarded the Bible for 45 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And literally that verse alone, based on my pre-programming before I ever heard that verse, made me discard that and all religions as complete and total nonsense, right? So you weren't taught about the globe before anything else. We're taught about the globe before we're 5 years old. We go in the cartoons that we watch, Sesame Street, everything. But you go to school, kindergarten, first grade, they're teaching you about the globe, the planets, the moon, right? So that becomes the foundation of your world belief. So then later, 30, 40, 50 years old, someone says the earth is flat. You think back to your programming and you go back to when you learned that 5 years old, and now you behave like a 5-year-old defending it. Okay? That's a fact.
Said.
That's a fact. Imagine, in college, let's say you learned about, I don't know, whatever topic in college, and you mastered it. You did a couple years on it in college, and then 20 years later, 30 years later, somebody challenges you and tells you the opposite. You immediately revert to that, 19, 20, 21-year-old person that learned it, and you're arguing from there. Flat Earth, you turn into a 5-year-old.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Well said.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Yeah, so that's why I think it is so important, this topic. And I think it brings people back to the creator. And so for people who keep saying, like, what does it matter? It matters a lot.
Well,
and why it means so much to us.
I want to throw in this one thing. I think that the creation side, the salvation side, the understanding God side is huge in Flat Earth. Huge. But you don't need it to be a Flat Earther, because if I had gotten into Flat Earth and said, oh, these are Christians that think the earth is flat and they're quoting Bible verses, I probably would have ran the other way. Right? Mm-hmm. So the Bible means nothing to a non-Bible believer. It means everything to a Bible believer, right? So science means real science is good for everybody. So I like to start with the science and then hit them on the head with the Bible, right?
Yeah.
If you start with the science, there's no denying it. There's no denying it. And the thing is, people are like, we got to do this task, we got to do that. They're all done. We've done it all. Okay? We've done it all. The only thing Globers have at this point is empty claims. There are no proofs of flat Earth. Well, that's the opposite of the truth. There's only proofs of flat Earth, right?
Right, right.
Flat Earth has been debunked 1 million times. It's never been debunked. Okay? Right? Everything they say it with authority. They say it empty claim. They assume the globe. They do everything. And none of it makes any sense. So our job, I think, is to just spread the awareness. People are like, well, what about experiments? I've got experiments. Go on my app, go to the more resources page, scroll down, and here is the experiments section. Boom. All the experiments, they've all been done for you. Watch them, then go out and recreate them yourselves. They're all there, right?
Yeah.
Google
thousands
will never
of hours.
Yeah, thousands of hours and dollars and everything.
And Dave, it isn't it true that Flat Earth won in a court of law too?
Twice.
Right?
Yeah. Zen Garcia. He had a challenge. Yeah. And so I offer 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof. I get nothing but insults and nonsense and everything. Matter of fact, check this out. This was I just did the Dropping Bombs with Brad Lee. You know that podcast?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big, huge podcast, right? And Brad's like, let me have you on, right? Because he was like, this is really interesting, and that was that's been out for a while. And just the other day, he texted me. He's like, Dave, I'm sitting with a guy who wants the Bitcoin. He is a pilot. He said the Earth is round, and he can prove it. He wants to know when he flies from North Dakota to Vegas, he takes off at 223 degrees and ends up landing on autopilot at 215 degrees. Why, if the Earth is flat with the 223 degrees, why wouldn't it be 223 the whole time? And I said to him, I said, I'm going to put together a few slides for you to show you that this guy is brainwashed and has never thought critically about what he does. And so this is what I sent him. So here's our flat Earth, and here's our false compass, right? North is in the center. How can north be? Wait, well, how come these are all different directions away from north? Right? East, is that really east? Is that west? North is in the center, right? This is the real compass. North is in the center. If the four of us were at the North Pole, let's say there was a pole there, and we all put our backs to the pole, so we're facing in four different directions, we're all facing south.
Yeah.
And if we started walking away from each other, we'd all be walking south. Now, that's not exclusive to a globe. It's the same on a flat Earth, right? A flat Earth, we'd all walk out. On a globe, we'd all walk down, and we'd all meet at the South Pole. We'd all walk down. We'd all meet at the South Pole, right? No one's ever done that. So there we go. I said, all right, east and west are not straight lines on a flat Earth or a globe Earth. Only north-south lines are straight lines. So all of these straight lines go from north to south. These are all north-south lines, and they're straight. On a globe, they're curved but straight, right? That's where, globers are curved but straight, level, horizontal is not level. I don't know. So you got that. So I said, right, west is a circle, right? You go west, you follow your compass 270 degrees west, it brings you all the way around, right? If you were on a car on a 1,000-mile perfectly circular racetrack, you would think you were driving straight. You wouldn't notice the micro turns to the right that you would be making, right?
Right.
You wouldn't even notice. At 100 miles, you wouldn't even notice. 1,000 miles, 2,000, 5,000, right? So out 20,000 miles, whatever it is, right? You would think you were driving straight. So you can fly west and the compass keeps turning, right? Because north, south have to point towards the center, north, right? North. So the compass has to turn. Now, by the way, while I'm doing this out, I knew it was going to work out perfectly. I wasn't even sure exactly where North Dakota and Vegas were in relation to each other. So on a globe, a plane has to turn to the right, turn to the right, turn to the right, turn to the right to maintain a heading of 270. It's the same on a flat Earth in the north. But in the south, on a globe, the plane would have to turn left. It would have to turn left and to go around the South Pole. Only on the equator could it theoretically fly straight, right? Do you guys follow that?
Yes.
So it has to turn left. Now, on a flat Earth, it wouldn't have to turn left. It would have to turn right. However, there's Navy ship captains, many, that have reported when they're dead reckoning in the Southern Oceans west, they have to turn to the right. And the one captain said, or a helmsman said, he thought there was just a rudder issue, but then on the way back, he still had to correct to the north, which is left. He thought he'd have to correct because it would be going to the right. And he had mentioned it to the admiral, and the admiral said, don't worry about it. All right? Don't worry about it. And it's because it's just because he's going, no matter where you are, you have to turn to the right to maintain that heading. So here we have North Dakota and Vegas. So here's a compass. 215 degrees is right there, the blue. 223 is right here. So I've got the compass lined up with the latitude here. So 223 is right here. And I've got this compass where I had to turn it clockwise a little bit. See how it's turned compared to this one? Because it's on its latitude line because the compass has to point towards the center. And so this is 223 degrees or 215 degrees. Now if I draw a line between the two of them, it's the same direction. So as the plane's flying, takes off at 223, straight line, 222, 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. That's why it changes. But guess what? That doesn't prove the Earth is flat because it's the same on a globe. It's only in the south that you can prove it. But I'm just showing that this pilot never even thought about this.
That's so good.
Interesting.
That's so good. I love it. Yeah.
So, Vinny, do you want to talk about this new model
Well,
that
it's
we've been
not new.
discussing
It's
lately?
actually what I started off believing, you know.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I mean, if what he's saying about the South, that does back up what he's saying about the circle dish. The thing I wanted to ask you, Dave, is obviously we could bring up the final experiment. I know that's been a big thing for the flat Earth community. I'm
Sure.
sure Grady and Tony have questions about Jaren and
Glad,
all this
gladly to
stuff.
answer. Glad, happy to answer them.
Um, Now, to me, I just want to throw this out there real quick. We could go back to it later or talk about it now, but I understand the 24-hour sun in the South, where I thought that this was possible and that would be a problem, but I see the majority don't believe it, and there's issues with the final experiment. So another point that is at the equator, it's my understanding, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe you could correct me or on this, but people say at the equator when they're looking up at the star trails, they're going in straight lines, which
They appear to.
yeah, so to me that could be a problem too for the circle dish where they're not curving. Uh
They
so
are curving, but we see in our personal atmospheric dome, we're not seeing the stars where they are. We're seeing them in our atmospheric dome of vision. And again, before we go here,
yeah,
looking up at the sky is no way to prove the shape of the Earth. It's
agreed.
yeah,
Agreed.
because if you want to say that the circling sun in Antarctica, if there was one, proves the shape of the Earth. Now you have to prove that helium and hydrogen can exist in a space vacuum. They can have
Mhm.
gravity. They can hold on to Pluto. They can ignore our moon. They can burn 100 billion tons a second or whatever and never get any smaller, right? You have to believe in stuff that people at Narnia laugh at. And then say, well, that proves that the Earth. Here's what I think of the sky.
I
Sky,
even said that to Jaron on his last show to him and his audience. I said,
yeah,
even if there is a 24-hour sun, that does not prove the
right,
shape of the Earth
right,
or that
and
it's not flat.
yeah, and
So I
and
agree.
I'm not even sure a 24-hour sun would work on a globe. But again, I think that the sky is metaphysical. And I think the farther out south we get, the more metaphysical this world becomes. I mean, this world is not a physical place. We
I say
feel it to
that
be.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's a spiritual.
we're on this spiritual plane of inertia. Um, that I think we're inside a toroid like this, and we're on this plane of inertia. This is where physicality is, and there's different heavens above. You got the gates of Enoch. There's all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff, right?
Yeah.
The Founded Earth Brothers did a video on the lunar wave, right? You guys know about the lunar wave, right? And they related it to all of the gates. It's actually very, very interesting. But again, I love speculating about the sky. But if you want to talk about flat Earth, we can talk about flat Earth down here on Earth, right? The
Yeah.
sky is a whole nother thing.
Yeah. So, Dave, so we've been talking about this, like the model that the military uses, which is a rectangle with portals on both sides. So on the east is a portal, on the west is a portal, and all the stuff in the sky is just like on a conveyor belt going above us, goes out the left and comes out on the right.
Well, no,
Uh,
real quick, the military doesn't use that. That's sort of the model that I've been promoting, a Book of Enoch model.
Yeah.
The military uses a UTM map, which is a square map,
with a
with a
grid, right?
grid. Yeah,
Yeah.
that I agree with.
And then Vinny, you were going to talk about the equator line, right? Being
Yeah, I
uh,
just brought that up to Dave.
okay, yeah. So there's a few things, Dave, that we just have questions and we want to run it by you because you're, obviously the expert on this and you
Well,
may be able to fill in some of these blanks.
I'm happy to give you my opinion and I'll tell you what I know, but you can say I have a lot of information, but I wouldn't say I know everything. I absolutely positively know that I don't know everything.
Right. As do we all.
Globers think they know everything.
That's true.
True.
Mhm.
A-
Yeah.
And the stars, don't change whether it's flat
Yeah.
or sphere. It's more, that's when we're getting into like different model ideas. But I think this is a great time for you guys maybe to talk about the final experiment. I know a lot of you have a lot of questions
Go
about
ahead.
that. and I'll let Dave say what he has to say about the final experiment.
Good.
Yeah. So, Dave, I mean, just what's your opinion on what happened down? Were they even there? Honestly, do you think they were even there?
I think they were somewhere in Antarctica to make it look like Union Glacier. I don't think they were at Union Glacier. I think that I don't think anybody was paid off. I think it's much deeper than that. This is just my opinion. I have no other information. You know, when those guys were going, a lot of people were behind them going, you know what? We got two good guys going. I said that. I said, we have our two best guys going. You know, Austin, amazing, right? But my opinion on that, it's totally has changed. You know, something happened down there. I mean, Jaron said to several of us, we're like, you know, what if they threaten you? What if this? What if that? You know, like you don't know what's going to happen. And he goes, if I come back and say McToon and Fight the Fat Shirt and Simon Dan are great guys and start doing podcasts with them and say that the moon landing's real, you can know that I've been compromised. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what he's doing. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe that's a call out for help, or maybe the person that we knew at Jaron is gone and there's something else occupying that vessel. Because you look at him on all his podcasts, he's got his hat down like this. You don't see his eyes. He won't look. His face looks different. I don't know what's going on. You know, I don't know what's going on. You know, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. But I'll go out on a limb and say, I doubt he got paid off a penny, because paying someone off is the worst way to control somebody. There's way better ways.
Yeah, like silencing people.
That's just my opinion. You know, there's so much stuff going on in Antarctica. You know, the whistleblower from Eric, somebody from Lockheed Martin, said there's technology in Antarctica that the human mind can't even conceive of, something similar to that. You can't even fathom it, right? And there's people like Darius J. Wright that have done OBEs, out of body experiences in Antarctica, and some of the stuff that he talks about he's seen, he won't even put on a podcast. He told me some stuff. It's wild. It's wild. But again, it's hearsay. I just heard it from a guy that said he travels out of his body. He could just be a raving lunatic, right? It all rings true to me. So I try not to talk about that. Go ahead.
I just want to real quick, and what about Whitsitt? Because I know Jaron, you know, I've always had, you know, Jaron, but Whitsitt I have worked with, and like you said, I thought he was a great guy.
Super smart.
What have you interacted with him since he came back? Or?
Yeah, a little bit. So you know, I have lots of thoughts in my head, which I'm going to kind of keep to myself. But I was at a conference with him after TFE in Dallas, and he did a presentation like no other presentation he's ever done before. Disorganized and horrible. Okay? Disorganized. So that's unlike him. Yeah. Unlike him. He ghosts me, but he ghosts a lot of people. That could just be him. He's having, you know, some family issues, which are pretty much public now, but if you want to know, figure it out yourself. And so, you know, and financial issues. So that might be the reason he's gone. You know, everyone's speculating, oh, the movie's going to come out and he's going to flip in the movie. You know, he's a paid agent. I don't believe any of that. Right now, I don't know what's going on with him. It's interesting. No, I'm not going to say it. The both of them came back and something happened to both of them in their family life at the same time. Weird stuff. And so, you know, I can't stand to listen to Jaron, but if you do listen to him, his arguments are horrible. They're just horrible.
Yeah, like Home Depot and all.
Yeah, it's just so. That's actually one of his better arguments. Okay, because you could actually steelman that a little bit, right? But his arguments are just horrible, right? And if you remember his old stuff, which he took all off the internet, but we have copies of everything. You know, I've been uploading a few of his really good videos, and I kind of just take out his name and stuff. But I think something happened to them that, you know, we should all be praying for them.
Yeah,
both of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
Agreed.
it's sad. It's almost sad. At first, it was kind of like, you kind of like laughed. It was kind of like, what? How could he now be backing up na anything that NASA says? But now that you take a step back, it's kind of worrisome,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Like,
super,
yeah,
super
yeah,
worrisome. And I think, he's doing exactly what he said he would do, like a code word of, that something happened to him. And, people can't fathom. I can give you a scenario right now, Vinny, where you would do exactly what Jaren's doing. I can give you a scenario where you would do it. But here's the thing. You wouldn't let yourself get in that situation. Here's another thing. Thank God I had the foresight
To
to
not go.
to sense this. Like from his first email, I'm like, no, there's something huge behind this. Just from his first email announcing it. Then he emailed me again. And I was like, just tell me the experiment. You know, you have to wait. And I was like, never email me again. I don't work with demons. Right. And that's it. And I'm not off on that. I'm not off on that at all. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, you saw my expose on Will Duffy, right? How he's a financial criminal and how he's got all these charges against him, $1 million in fines, possible jail time, but all he cares about is settling this debate. Come on. Come on.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
so
great
stupid.
line.
I'll give you the link it below this video. Anybody watching this that thinks that, Will Duffy, the guy that allegedly organized this trip, only cares about settling the debate, watch my 7-minute video on Will Duffy. And then you'll be like, nope, this is complete and total constructed nonsense. This is how I look at it. NASA, in my opinion, is the World Intelligence Agency above everything else, right? NASA was behind TFE. This was a big operation, multi years in planning. It's as important as the fake moon landing, but way easier to pull off. The moon landing had to do it in front of the whole world. This
yeah,
you only do in a little hidden area, no observers, all sorts of stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
That makes sense.
yeah,
Mhm.
good.
And the actual experiment,
What experiment?
I
What
saw the
experiment?
video.
What is the
Well,
experiment? What is the
whenever,
independent variable? What is the experiment? They had an observation. They saw
yeah,
light in the sky and they speculated that it meant that the Earth is a globe, even though we measured the Earth and it's no curvature.
yeah. And even if I went down there myself and I saw what they saw, I would never, that wouldn't convince me of anything. I would just be like, okay, well then we got to figure out what's going on with the sun. Like if
Well,
anything, it's a sun
and
matter, not an
here's the
earth
thing.
matter.
Years ago, I said if we saw a circling sun in Antarctica, that would prove the Earth is a globe. I said that. I was wrong. But I don't
Yeah,
believe they saw a circling sun. All right. I didn't understand what the sky was. I didn't understand a lot of what I understand now. I understand a ton more. I also know that I don't understand a lot about the sky, what this place is. So,
Yeah.
so
Have you read?
I used to also say the Earth was a globe too. Why don't you hang that over my head, Globers? Okay.
So we have some interesting things that connect to the Book of Enoch. Vinny, do you want me to just play this a little bit, just so Dave knows kind of what we're talking about, and then I'll have Grady did a ton of research in the Book of Enoch that kind of like
Let's see it.
follows this. Is that
Yeah.
is that cool with
yeah.
you
Have
guys?
you read the Book of Enoch,
I've
Dave?
watched a lot of videos on it. I've skimmed through it, but I
Okay.
haven't read the whole thing.
Yeah. That's okay. Yeah.
Guys, I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if you can see
I
this.
see it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me just play this a little bit because obviously that's what they want us to believe. And this is what we are now talking about. Conveyor belt with two portals on each end. Vinny, do you want to kind of explain this to Dave? Like, you want to talk through this?
Yeah, I mean, Dave's heard me, talk about this. We've talked about this for the past couple of years, where this is sort of the model that I've been uh, going with or looking into. But yeah, Enoch is talking about basically the sun, the moon, and the stars coming out of these eastern portals and setting the western portals, and it's almost like Pac-Man or the scene in the Matrix where they're running out the left and he pops out on the right. It's almost like a space loop where to me it backs up to what you were saying and how I also say like this place is more supernatural and spiritual and it's kind of freaky what's actually going on in the sky is pretty supernatural and yeah, I kind of feel like the Book of Enoch might be pretty accurate in explaining um what what's going on with these portals. And
I,
yeah,
I would see how those portals could work on a flat circle Earth. I mean, one of the things that again I haven't experienced it firsthand is ships captains in the South always have to correct to the North when they're going. I think that causes a slight issue on your on that projection. What I'm seeing there is a projection. It's another way of viewing the map. Um,
yeah,
I don't think we're in opposition to each other. It's like we're trying to figure it out, and I appreciate the work on this theory. I mean, the way I see it is the sun circles around, it's spiraling in and out, and there's certain times that certain like transitions where the sun takes a big jump. So
yes.
I
And
was
that
in
could be sort of like a portal
yeah,
kind of
so I
thing.
was in Mexico on the water for the last 3 months, okay? And I'd watch the sunrise every morning, and every morning I could see it moving a tiny bit to the left, a tiny bit to the left. Every morning, right? It started out way over here, and then, now it's over here. But there's a buoy, there's a long pier and stuff. And so I knew exactly where it was going to come up every day, except and one day it jumped. I was like,
Yeah,
did I not see the sunrise? Like, what happened? It's like 3 weeks later or something. You
that's
know,
what happened to me years
there's
ago.
there's a big jump.
Hmm.
So
That's when I
that's
started thinking about Enoch.
yeah, but that's me in the same position every day. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not traveling. The sun traveled. So the sun
Yes,
is circling above us, going through these portals. And the portal doesn't necessarily have to be right in front of me. It could have jumped onto another track and then come around. I'm like, whoa, that's not where it was yesterday. It's way off.
yes,
You would think that if it's spiraling in and out without portals, it would be very smooth. It would be perfectly increments, 1 degree a day or whatever it is.
yeah. Or
Yeah.
just like they say with the
But it
ball.
jumped. It
Yeah,
jumped like 3 or 4 or 5 degrees, whatever. I didn't measure it. And I thought it was fascinating.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
No, that's what got me. And also the moon jumping. The moon jumps even more, where I'm sure you've seen like sometimes the moon will be in front of the sun for a while, a couple weeks. And then again, one day, I just, the next day, it's completely
Well,
behind the sun, southern part of the sky,
well,
Right.
dramatic jump in one day.
let me. You want to show me what you're going to show there, and then I'll show you how that works. Go ahead.
okay. Oh, well, okay, real quick. Yeah, just last week Tony put out a video with Vinny and they were talking through this. And I'm like with you, Dave, I've always kind of like your model. I'm still trying to work this out. But when Vinny showed this, I was like, "Oh man, that really reminds me of Enoch." And it's a long chapter, like right in the middle of Enoch. He goes through a whole bunch of stuff. This is on this, it's like page 77. And chapter 2, the luminaries, the book of the courses of the luminaries of the heaven, the relations of each according to their classes, their dominion, their seasons. And he just gets way into it here. This is the first law of the luminaries. The luminary, the sun, has its rising in the eastern parts of the heaven and its setting in the western portals of the heaven. And it talks about portals like crazy. And so I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, 6 portals in which the sun sets and the moon rises and sets in these portals. The leaders of the stars in whom they lead, 6 in the east, 6 in the west, and the following each other in corresponding order. Many windows to the right and left of these portals. It's so interesting.
And
I'm
I
just like,
think that's also like where Dave was saying how it like little by little, it's incrementally going. And I think those are the windows,
Yeah.
yeah.
right? And then
Sure.
the portal is the big jumps, where there's 6 portals are the 6 big jumps that happen during the year. And I think the windows are the incremental little small
But
movements.
what's interesting, I just want to mention that Enoch is mentioning an east and a west, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Which is not on the circular dish model. I just wanted to point that out. That I just saw that now, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting.
Well, that's something I brought up where to me, Dave, I feel like you said earlier, where the north is the center, south is everything away, west and east are directions. But with this type of model, it's geographical locations. Like there's an east and there's a west,
Yeah.
as geographical locations. So that's
Let,
something a little bit different that
let me
I
show
look
you.
into.
Let me show you here.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Here, I'm going to stop share. Okay, go ahead.
So this is the Tropic of Capricorn, and this is the Tropic of Cancer. The sun travels in between these tropics. If I jump forward each month, it'll move. It'll jump. So there's kind of the portal. Whoops, let me do that. It's kind of the portal jump. It goes into June, July, August. So it's got 6 stops in and out. So there's your 6 portals,
Exactly.
right? There's your 6
Yeah,
portals. Now the sun is, all right, let me go back to today. Are we about today, Sunday, November 15th? All right. So the moon is right here, right? So the sun is going faster than the moon. So it
Right.
laps the moon every 28 days.
Yep.
So the moon is behind the sun right now and getting farther and farther away. And then eventually the moon will be in front of the sun just because the sun is catching up to it. So the sun's going to lap it 28 times around, and then the sun will disappear, and then it'll be behind it. So I think that's what you're seeing, Vinny. I mean, in this model at least.
Mm-hmm.
So there's your full moon when they're opposed
well,
to each other. Go ahead.
well, that was the thing is that it wasn't gradual. It was almost like here's the sun and the moon, basically the same spot for weeks or whatever, and then one day, the next day, it's like jumped completely far behind the sun in like the southern part of the sky. Like it was a dramatic jump in just one day, and that's when I was like, well, if it was like something like this, somewhere on the flat plane, people would see it passing. You know what I mean? But nobody did.
Well, you won't really see the moon passing because when there's a new moon, there's no moon. The moon's not there. It's gone. Right?
True.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
There's
it felt more supernatural, like we were talking about, almost unexplainable. And the only thing that I could think of again is that it was in a set position that I was seeing for a couple weeks, and then it went through one of these portals and was now in a different one,
if the
and now in a
portals
different
if the portals are
position.
at a certain time of each month, um, the moon phases at that portal will change. It could be a crescent moon, it could be a half moon, it could be a full moon at that portal time. So it'll change. So maybe when the crescent moon is close, the crescent moon is always close to the sun. If a portal happens at that time, it'll jump to the other side of the sun. Right?
Yeah,
You'll only see that jump when it's happened when the crescent moon is right near the portal. That makes perfect sense. But it works on both of our models.
yeah, I agree. I've seen someone who did a Book of Enoch model based on a circle dish.
Yeah.
So, I agree with you that it could work on both models. Um,
It's so interesting. Yeah, the Book of Enoch is, I've always wondered, I kind of always had it on the shelf, like, huh? And
They don't teach the Book of Enoch in churches, right?
no, not
no,
anymore.
it's like a big thing, especially the Protestants. They seem to like hate it the most, but yeah, but I point out like the Ethiopian Bible still to this day has the Book of Enoch in it.
That's right.
Uh, the King James and a lot of stuff in the past had the Apocrypha, and some even had the Book of Enoch. So
They
I
did.
think it's more recently the Catholic Church
I got a question.
has got rid of it.
Somebody sent me an email the other day yelling at me for my beliefs on Christianity and said that if I quote any Bible other than the King James Bible, I'm going to hell. Is that true?
No, that's not true.
It's not true. Are you
No.
sure?
That, that's
Woo!
that's a lot of these Protestants. I know
It,
that's a Protestant who, and I've had to deal with people like that, and
I just said, please stop emailing me. You're scaring people away. I go,
that's what I would have probably
yeah,
said too.
It's
it
a
just,
spell. It's a
yeah.
spell in our age, the King James only, and just the spirit they come at you with. It's not the
Yes.
spirit of God.
I got
It's
another
how,
question.
yeah.
Somebody I used to respect said that the Bible is God's word and man cannot change it. I see examples of the Bible being changed in every version. Is that not correct?
Yeah, the translations have been messed with
So
big
the
time.
Bible has been screwed with a million times over and sideways.
The physical books, but the word of God, I think, always stands. I think that's what that means. The
Right. Well,
actual word of
the
God.
word of God stands, but where do you get the word of God? You get it from a book that a man made.
The original translations, people can go back to, and a lot of people
Okay.
do. It's like their life calling. They go back and they translate from the original
Okay.
manuscripts.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That makes sense.
Yep. But
Um,
really, the word of God is Jesus. Jesus himself is the word of God. According to the Bible, it's
right.
Jesus and the Holy Spirit,
What what do
Yeah.
you got? What's your take on organized religion from any angle?
Now,
That it,
see, I'm someone who's like, it's almost like flat Earth, Dave, right? Like there's a lot of flat earthers, but might have different opinions, right? The same thing with Christianity. That's why there's so many different denominations, right?
I'm asking your opinion.
And yeah, I mean, okay, sorry. So what was the original
The
question
question
again was,
is, what is your take on organized religion? So
yeah, so
here's
to
my
me,
issue. Again, I'm not a fan of organized religion. I think
me either.
I'm a fan of studying the Word of God myself and having my
Yes,
experiences and trusting my intuition, which comes from God. Um,
yeah. So I
so
want to answer that
yeah,
for
go
you.
ahead.
So my opinion is that we are to have a personal relationship with Jesus. That religion, it's not a bad thing, but it was meant to be a good thing, and it could be a good thing. But religion isn't Christianity to me. It's
No, and it's doing more
it's
harm than good.
yeah, especially the
It's like
Catholic
having a
Especially
Church.
the
personal trainer.
churches.
It's like a personal trainer. You go to the gym, you can go work out. You know, you have a personal trainer, you're going to do what they say. And if you got it
Yeah,
right, you're lucky. If they don't have it right, you might get injured.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a personal relationship with Jesus. It's not about you go to church every Sunday and put a donation, so now you're a good Christian. That's definitely not how I see it. It it's a personal relationship.
Amen. Yeah. And Jesus wants to have fellowship with us where we can actually hear his voice. And the promises in the new covenant is the power of God is at work. And Jesus is actually speaking to you, an actual living and active God who fellowships with you, where you meet him and actually fellowship with him. And he, the Holy Spirit, which is the word of God, will teach you all things and lead you into all truth. And what do we see today? We see the opposite. We see this is the age of 50,000 denominations. It's the age of division. It's the age of quarreling. People disagree about 50 million doctrines all day, every day. It's pride. So God resists the proud and he gives grace to the humble. Jesus said, unless you change and become like a little child, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. And so when we humble ourselves like a child, Jesus will meet you and give us grace. Grace is the power of the Holy Spirit. Grace is not unmerited favor. Grace is not, the grace in scripture, the grace of Jesus is the power of the Holy Spirit, where you actually hear his voice. And now, because we empty ourselves, it's not us. The old covenant symbolizes us trying our best to follow God. Do your best. Tighten up those bootstraps. Don't lust. Tithe your money. Pray more. You need to pray more. You need to memorize that Bible. You need to try to obey God on your strength, your doing. Whereas in the new covenant, we die. We're crucified with Christ. We become born again. And he gives us a new heart, a new mind, and makes us a new creature, a new creation, born of God. And guess what? Here's how we know, Dave. Here's how we know if someone's a Christian: by their love, by the way they love one another. And mercy, like the wisdom from heaven is full of mercy. It's easy to entreat. It takes you right where you're at, just like Jesus. He was a friend of sinners. He wasn't some Pharisee who wouldn't have anything to do with people that disagreed with him. No, he
Mhm.
didn't. It wasn't even about the doctrine. The cross of Christ is emptied of its power when our gospel becomes words. For the Apostle Paul in Scripture, the gospel is the power of God. The gospel is the power of God. And so, Jesus, man, this is it. So, what happened to me? My story here, Dave, and you did play a role in it. Okay. Oh, you played a little role where I was dead. I went 2 decades where I was a hardcore preacher. I was a Pharisee. I'm on Pharisees Anonymous, judging people, condemning people, putting heavy loads. But even though I didn't realize it, I didn't even realize it. I thought I was humble. I thought I was cool. But God, showed me, and I memorized the entire New Testament in multiple translations, including the King James. Okay. And then God showed me, you're fathers the devil and you do his work. It's a ministry of condemnation. And this is back in 2013. And I eventually I went hardcore Christian where I fasted for 40 days twice, sold everything I owned and gave it all away, and went street preaching every day for years, baptized hundreds of people. I went from that to being full stop atheist. And long story short, my spirit and my soul died, and I was a dead man. And God met me with it because in my mind, I debunked the Bible. I debunked the New Testament. Jesus is a liar. His promises are not true. The power of God is lacking in this age. It's a bunch of people waxing eloquent with tons of sermons, tons of doctrine, thinking they know, okay, with the age of 50,000 denominations. Okay, number one, power of God lacking. Number two, the state of the church. Number three, all the end times eschatology prophecies that Jesus gave. Okay, it was like, doesn't make sense. Jesus hasn't come back for 2,000 years, and I couldn't make sense of it. Okay, and so I was like, Jesus, I debunked it. Okay, and then, but God met me. God in his mercy met me. He met me and raised me from the dead and gave me revelation of, and it happened with the knowledge of Revelation 20, the little season. Like, whoa, Jesus already came back. Whoa, my lunch break. Okay, like all his stuff where he's showing, it's like the millennial kingdom staring us right in the face. And part of the lie, like, yeah, there it is, baby. I know, I love it. I love you guys. I watch even your 13-hour videos, man. I watch them, and I'm going to be doing. I watched 3 of them twice, and I've marked. I'm going to be doing videos on them, on highlighting a lot of the. Anyways, so God met me in his mercy, and now it went from nothing in this world makes sense. Nothing makes sense. I can't make sense of anything. Politics, the news, the earth, history, nothing makes sense. To now everything makes sense. Satan was loosed, and he goes out. First thing he does, he deceives all the nations. We're in an age of deception and an age of pride in this age. And that's why Jesus told the Pharisees in his age, the teachers of the law, he said, this is a synagogue of Satan. Your father is the devil and you do his work, because it's a ministry of condemnation and it's proud. It's arrogant. Whereas when the wisdom from heaven comes, when the Spirit comes and convicts us of sin, it's a joy, and it has hope for you, and it's full of love, and it's full of mercy. It's easy to entreat. It's gentle. It's loving, it's cool. Like Jesus was a friend of sinners, not a friend of the Pharisees. It was
Yeah.
the Pharisees that killed him.
Yeah. Dave, I think, this is a good time maybe to explain to you like about us short season people.
Yeah.
So, because I don't, we haven't even explained to Dave basically what we,
Right. Right. But
so
Dave, you always
we,
say, why the lie? It's the lie that matters. It's the lie that matters. Why the lie?
Yeah.
and to us, basically, like Grady, great job, man. That's why I like you so much. You're a very
I
good
love you
Christian.
too, man.
Um, but for a lot of us, it's gotten big where, yeah, people like my lunch break. Even before my lunch break had a channel, I was out going all over places, recording these buildings. And I realized a long time ago, the official story doesn't add up. And how it says founded. Why did these things say founded? How were people that are basically Amish, horse and buggy, building all this stuff?
It's incredible.
And
It's everywhere. I
yeah,
can't even
and
go outside anymore.
yeah, everywhere you look, you see this stuff. And obviously Tartaria kind of blew up as the big thing. And Dave, you know me from the Killer Pre-show, like one of the first shows I did almost like 4 or 5 years ago, I said there's this Tartarian thing that's going to take off. I see it taking off, and I was right. And it's been such a big thing. Even that famous comedian recently, I just seen Tom Green from Canada. He did a special, and he's talking about Tartaria. And I'm like, Tartaria is big, like flat Earth. It made it to the mainstream,
They're inseparable.
and yeah. But to me, I started to. Well, there's also another thing called the Flamenco books, which I got to send you, Dave. I think you would love them. It was these
Mm.
Russian scientists,
Yep.
like real hardcore scientists, mathematician awards, you know, uh, academics and all this stuff that a long time ago said that our timeline is all fake, and history is fake. They're lying about all this stuff.
Yep.
And in those books, they actually had stuff on Tartaria too. And actually last year I became friends with actually the publisher for Anatoly Fomenko, this guy Yuri, who studied under him for 30 years and then published the books in English. And I've done 2 interviews with him. And I wanted to talk about Tartaria with them because Tartaria is basically Russia, or is from that area, and they actually have books on it. So I first started looking into Tartaria, and it's not so much of what the Tartarian people are saying, where it was like this super advanced one world group that built all these structures. I right away found out that that's not technically true. Um, and that's when I started being open-minded to, well, what are these buildings? And then there was even a time where I was like, are these all Rome? These maybe this is all Rome. Rome ruled the world. They really ruled the world. And but then looking deeper and deeper, I started finding out that everything is basically Christian, and there's Christian symbology everywhere. And I fell into this topic called the millennial kingdom. And then I found some other people that were getting into it. That's actually where Tyler found me, was on Paul's show doing this, and Tony and Grady. We're all into this thing, Dave, where it's like we believe that Jesus, when he was talking to those people at the time, to the disciples, to those people, and he's making comments like, I'm about to be here. We're like about like it's all about to happen, and he was preaching to those people. We don't believe that he was talking about you're going to be waiting 2,000 years later for this event to happen, Armageddon and this and that. So it's almost like this thing called preterism, but we're not full preterist either. But it's like we believe that 70 AD, the destruction of the temple, that Jesus came back, fulfilled prophecy, and the Bible talks about when this happens, a millennial kingdom is built where there's 1,000 years of this, Christ reign
Yeah.
with the
Christ
saints.
rules and reigns on earth for
And
1,000 years.
then after the 1,000 years, Dave, you're muted for a sec. I didn't hear what you said because you're muted, Dave.
I said I like doing that once a show.
So we believe that we're in the short season after the millennial kingdom. That's why we're called short season or millennial kingdom people.
So is the short season starting now or ending now?
Ending now. So
So
there's a lot of
2026,
similarities.
2027 is the turnover?
Well, no. We think that it happened recently where, that's again up for debate. A lot of people want to go with 1776. I'm someone who, it's a lot of theories out there on when the actual date was that the devil
Yeah.
was let loose.
But yes, Dave, we think it's ending soon. I personally think it's ending in July, but that's just me. Everyone has their own
When
opinion
people
on
ask me when I think it's ending or something, I say Thursday.
Yeah, I don't get into that, and even I think the Bible, like nobody really knows. But we do feel like it actually makes more sense that we're in this short season. And to me, the thing of finding that Christianity did spread everywhere, and every kingdom was Christian. I found the evidence, even the Chinese, all
Mhm.
these things were actually Christian up until recently. And it seems like the Jesuits in the 1800s did a number on so many things. I've even found out that the Buddhists, they were actually Christian. It was a Christian sect up until like the 1800s. Islam was a Christian sect talking about Jesus and other stuff up until the Jesuits basically conquered them recently. And all these buildings that we see, one of the things I bring up is the acanthus plant is on the crown of these buildings, which is what they put on Jesus's head. Um, a lot of these churches, like a lot of these amazing buildings are like churches and cathedrals. Um, so we feel like recently the devil was let loose to deceive the nations. He doesn't have a lot of time. That's why it's so fast, right? We went from horse and buggy 100 years ago to what we are now with AI and this and that. And it actually makes more sense to us. And we feel like we have a lot of evidence that the
I mean,
millennial kingdom
yeah,
happened and
all
we're
of the
in the
stuff that we
short
have
season.
now, it's been around for a long time. You remember the movie
Yes.
Wag the Dog, right?
Yes,
About
I
the
love
war.
that movie.
And
Yeah.
one of the and I was watching that movie 20 years ago, right? And It's like, oh, we need a scene of a girl running out of burning buildings. Boom, and
with
they're
the
like,
Dorito bag.
yeah, we need a cat. And they're like, we don't have a cat. And he goes, let's give her a bag of Doritos and we'll swap it out. And I'm like, they can't do that. We now have free consumer-based software that can do that. Okay, what did they have 20 years ago? It's better than what we have now. Hey, everybody, quick message that I'd like to share with all of you. Our lives are filled with toxins in our air, food, and even in the information we're taught. Avoiding them all is impossible, but helping your body detox doesn't have to be complicated. That's where Masterpiece comes in. Just 5 drops under your tongue twice a day, and that's it. Super easy, super simple, and it doesn't even taste bad. I've tried countless supplements, and while generally I'm pretty healthy, I didn't really feel much of an effect. But with Masterpiece, it delivered noticeable benefits. Check out the podcast I did with Terry from Masterpiece, linked below this video, or you can find links directly to Masterpiece on my website, flatearthdave.com, or in the shopping section on the app. The key to health is to detoxify. Now back to the show. And that goes back to, the ISS. They showed the Caligula-looking woman doing the 20-minute tour of the whole station. Well, that could just be AI. I mean, looking at the technology, understanding, the arguments in 2014, 2015, when we show the fake images of Earth, they're like, they didn't have Photoshop, back when the moon landing was, right? They didn't have bullshit. They had Photoshop in the 1800s, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they did.
2001 Space Odyssey came out the year before the moon landing. And right?
Stanley Kubrick.
Did you know that
Kubrick's movie came out the year before the moon landing?
Google Earth used to be flat until 2008, where they added curvature.
Yeah.
I think it's 2008, somewhere around there. Crazy. It's over. The game is it's just, we have to get the brainwashed people, brainwashed since they were 5 years old. We have to get them to lay down their egos and see the truth, because there are no atheist flat earthers. None. Zero. There's none. We could have different ideas. That's fine. But there are no atheist flat earthers. Right.
Yeah.
And
great point.
It's the world would be uncontrollable by the elite. The governments would all fold and crumble if everybody knew the earth was flat, because they'd all know there's a creator and that the government is not our God.
So, Dave, it sounds like you've heard of the little season.
I'm on board with it.
Theory?
I'm on board. Yeah.
So that means that, I mean, if that's true, and
we need someone awesome like you, Dave. You could do way more than any of us.
Yeah, and I mean, even I know I've been doing a lot of research on it. I know Vinny has the 1560 Geneva Bible. In the original 1560 Geneva Bible, it said that all those prophecies came true, right in the footnotes. But now they've taken all that commentary out. So you go on Amazon, you try to buy an old Geneva Bible, it'll literally say without footnotes and commentary. Because back then, there was no question that Jesus told the truth. He said he was coming back soon to his disciples and their timeline, and he did. He came back and he ruled on earth for 1,000 years. And it's like almost as much, if not more proof than flat earth, in my opinion, that the millennial kingdom already happened. I mean, I believe me, I've tried to like debunk it myself, and it's like flat earth. Once you start looking into it, you really can't debunk it.
You just find more evidence.
Let me think about this. I buy into that. It makes sense to me. I would vote on it. I would say yes, but there's other people that know more about it than I do. I just go watch my lunch break, right? Go.
Yeah.
There's other people. Yeah. There's what is the guy's name? The other Christian YouTuber, TikTok guy. He looks a little bit like you, Tony. What's his name? I did an interview with him. I can't remember his name right now. But he pushes it. He pushes it also, I think.
Okay.
Oh, Tyler? Yeah. Tyler Woods?
No, not Tyler.
Well, no, not him. Another Tyler.
Tyler Woods is totally. He's a good buddy of mine now, and he came to Jesus through some of your videos, through the biblical cosmology.
Yeah. Oh, and Dave, I just want to let you know, I was also an atheist. It was flat earth that, like you, I said, oh, this means the Bible is real. And that means that oh, the Bible is the only true thing. Everything else is fake. And that's literally what brought me back to being, ultimately to being Christian. It was learning that the earth is flat. And then when I found out they were trying to hide it, why would they hide that? What's the big deal? Because they want to hide evidence of a creator. And I went, oh, and it all just rushed. It all just came to me and it all made sense. Like, that's it. Then now everything makes sense. Like Grady said, once you get hit with that truth, it's like now all the pieces fall in place and the cover up and the lies prove the truth, right? Proves the crime, which proves the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Cover up proves the truth. Yeah.
Yeah. And I came at it from a hardcore biblical Christian perspective that in my mind, I had debunked the scriptures. And that's why where the little season comes in, it's kind of like the end of the rabbit hole. It explains why the lies. It's Satan was loose and has deceived us from our history. So another one, but besides Fomenko, is Gunnar Heinzen, who is a historian and an archaeologist, and he just destroys all the historical narratives and just proves that he wasn't even a Christian, and how they added tons of years to our timeline, how it got into all of our history as we're taught today went into the hands of the Jesuits and then was handed off to the Masons. And man, and then Tony and I have done a lot of videos with a guy named Adam who does these hagiographies and hundreds of thousands of historically documented writings of the millennial reign and Satan being loosed. And even the Geneva Bible says that Satan was loosed.
Yep. Yep.
The guy's name was JT, follows JC. He's a millennial reign guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's great.
Yeah, mm-hmm. I love him.
Yeah, totally. He was who I initially saw. He and Paul Stobbs with Understanding Conspiracy. They were into that. But I've done there's even a greater deception at play here, that the gospel, which is the power of God, that is like veiled even in the churches. The gospel being the power of God, where you can actually get to know Jesus and fellowship with him and be led of him.
I feel the churches, though, say you can get to know Jesus as long as I'm the middleman.
Yeah,
as long as I'm the middleman, right? They in the, I think it was 1776 or somewhere around there. They all got together and they removed the part of the Bible that says God is within you. And it says God is within you through the church. Now, help me out here again. The Vatican is evil, is it not?
Yes.
Yep.
Now, the Vatican runs all of the Catholic churches in the world, right?
Yep.
So how are Catholic churches good?
They used to be, right, Vinny?
Yeah, I think
Catholic
the original
was
might have been. Yeah, I think it might have been the original, but obviously, Dave, I'm sure everybody knows there's a big part of conspiracy people that love to say the Jews run the world and attack the Jews. And I've been someone, Dave, since like 2015 that's been obsessed with exposing the Jesuits and saying that the Catholic Church actually rules the world.
Yeah.
The Jesuits are basically the Illuminati and have all the power.
Yeah.
So to me, I'm someone who's big into the Catholic Church being
going back to being accused of being I'm a Freemason. I did a show with my friend PK in Australia on the Boston bombing, and we destructed it on Caravan to Midnight with John B. Wells, who used to be a big Coast to Coast DJ, and we blew his mind, just totally blew his mind. 2.5 hour show, right? At the end, he takes off his glasses. He goes, you guys mind if I do a little ceremony in honor of you guys? Like, okay, and he goes, on the name of the Caravan to Midnight, I invoke you to Knights of the Caravan of the Knights of the Caravan Table, whatever. It's the name of his radio show. And they took that as me being inducted into to be a Jesuit or whatever, to be a Knight of the Round. It's like, and that's what Tyler based his hatred on me on.
Yeah, I saw that on Tyler's
It's incredible. And I have watched the whole video, watched the whole debunking we did. He basically just put us on his wall of fame with his little silly ceremony. And that's why, and so when Tyler did that, it caused a lot of damage, but I transmuted that all into positive. Where people like, you're this and you're that, you're a shill because of this. Oh, FED, Flat Earth Dave. I'm like, oh yeah, my mom 62 years ago, she was genius. She goes, I better give him a D name because in 2014, the Flat Earth movement's going to start. He's going to lead it. And then we could do Revelation of the Method and he could be FED, right? Like what are these people thinking? So being the steelman, like I try to steelman their argument. I go, if you really want to, if you want to say that I'm a shill, you should lead with he's a Jew and he's the only one making money in flat Earth. Okay? That's your best argument. That's your best argument. Right?
That's funny, Dave.
Yeah, it is funny. It's funny, but it has nothing to do with anything. There are people like, oh, I have bosses. Nobody has ever told me what to do. Vinny, you've told me what to do more than anybody else. Okay. But basically you're just sharing ideas with me. And that's what I mean by telling me what to do. And I'm always open to ideas. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And when someone else has a better idea, I'm like, great, I'll use that. So there's nobody that has ever come to me and said, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. I do it myself in my private life. I always say I'm the cruise ship director. You know why? Because no one else is going to do it the way I want it done. All right. No one else is going to do it. So I just do it myself. And so I'm doing this all myself. Nobody other than God above is helping me. Nobody. I mean, don't get me wrong. You're helping me, Vinny. We're having this show. We're spreading the word. It's awesome. You're the best.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. But yeah, we know what you mean, Dave.
Yeah.
And I think also like not everybody could do this because you got to have like a tough skin. It's something I've talked about with Tony a lot about myself, where I could go on Kill a Priest and other things. You got to expect that you're going to get assaulted. You're going to deal with these, I call them full retards that, right here, they're going to see the eye and I'm Illuminati or whatever it is. I have brick walls, so I'm a Mason.
Yeah.
It's part of the territory. You have a Jewish name, so you're part of the cabal, I guess. So, you have to have like this confidence and the strength in yourself, which obviously you have, or you wouldn't be able to do this. And I don't think a lot of people do have the stomach.
Benny, do you realize with your head blocking some of those bricks, there's 13 bricks, upright bricks behind you?
I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew there was something about him.
Illuminati, perfect. And there's a third of the top row showing, so there's another 3, right? And you have the two pillars on the side. The side is like 2 pillars. Those are Freemason pillars.
Yeah. Jacob and Boaz.
Like Trump's Board of Peace building that he wants to construct that has 2 massive pillars. No surprise.
Yeah.
But you also have to have some humility if you really want to find the truth. No one ever found the truth by just accepting what they already knew, right? You always have to kind of dig deeper, go further, be willing to admit that maybe you don't know everything. And that's kind of what my channel is all about. That's why we're talking about this with you, because for years I believed exactly what your model, Dave. And now I'm just like, hey, let's look at maybe we have it right, basically, but maybe there's a little different than what we believe.
I think it's pretty damn right here. Anything beyond 60 degrees south, I think the whole model changes. I think the whole thing changes. From our point of view, from where we are on this plane of inertia, we see the sun do what the sun does. We see the sky do what the sky does. And the model is way better than the globe. That's an insult to the model. But again, the sky is a whole nother thing. The ground is what we're talking about. The ground is level. It's non-rotating. And
exactly.
You're talking about, you have to have the humility. The 4 of us here, we are the most humble people in the world, and we've killed our ego. That's why we know we're better than everybody else. That's my joke. That's my joke.
Hey,
my joke.
I love it. I know. I love it. It's hilarious. You have a calling, Dave. It's like clear. It's like a conviction driven.
I walked away. I need to ask me to tell about for the people that don't know. I grew up in Fairfield County, right? The good side of the East Coast here. And I went to college and I went into corporate America and I worked my way up in the companies I worked for. And then I started my own company and we took off and I was making more money than I ever thought I'd make and all as well. And then my truth journey was interfering with my work. It was literally interfering with, like, when I was going after the Beachy School in Connecticut people, some of the lawyers that were involved with that incident were the same lawyers that were working with some of our clients. Right? So it was becoming an issue. One of my partners was freaking out, rightly so. And I said, you know what? Everything I've worked my life for, we're told, go to school, get a career, work your way up. That's the American dream. That's what we're told the American dream is. And I kind of was getting it all. And then I was like, I want to get the hell out of here. Right. And I was like, I was considering leaving the company that I built. And I'm just like, that's crazy. Right. That's just crazy. And I asked God for a sign. Right. Never asked God for a sign before. Right. I asked God for a sign, and I got several signs within a day or two that that blew my mind. I was like, leaving. And so I walk into the office after asking God for a sign, and my partner goes, hey, I was in the commercial solar power development business, and and residential jobs with 10, 20 panels versus a commercial job with 5,000 panels. You get paid by the panel, and they're both the same amount of work to get the job done as far as paperwork and everything. And he goes, oh, we're doing a residential job. I'm like, what for? And I go, who for? And he goes, the Clintons.
Whoa.
The Clintons.
Whoa.
And I'm like,
Wow.
I go like this. I go, I need another sign. give me another sign, right? And then it's either later that day or the next day, my partner goes, so now we have these large commercial solar systems on these rooftops, and we have easements where we have control over the roof. We can basically do anything we want up there. And he goes, hey, on all the rooftops that we have easements on, we're doing a deal to put up 5G towers. I'm like, have another one? Like, I was like totally against that. And then, so then I went home, and it was the end of the month. I was paying my bills, and the app was just taken off, and the money came in from Apple. And I was like, all right, great. I paying my bills, and I paid the last bill, and I had $1 left over. And that's when I was like, should I leave this amount of money for this amount of money? And then I was like, if I leave and I focus on this, I can grow the sales more and stuff. And, and most of the money I make on this thing goes right back into it goes into the app, because I'm not here to sell apps. I'm here to wake people up. And a great tool is my app. It really is, because I made it for myself to have a tool to, when I'm talking to people out somewhere, I'm out having a drink or whatever. I could show them, look, the sun goes around like this, and I could show them images and all sorts of stuff. And I made it for that. But then it turned into this whole thing. It's now even a dating site. You know that?
Yep.
So there's already babies because of it.
Flat Earth babies.
They're flat Earth babies.
Well, God bless you, Dave, for doing that. Walking away from all that. Not many people could do that, right? So
again, here's the thing. We all like money. We all need money in this system, right? We all do like freedom, and freedom comes with having some financial ability to have that freedom, right? You want to go somewhere, you need some money. So I don't do it for the money. I do it because I'm waking people up. The money is a side effect. The money is the second thing, right? I don't do it for that. If I did it for the money, it probably wouldn't be so successful.
I agree, and well said, Dave. And to me, like, even when I used to go on Killer Priest, I went on there the first time to talk about flat Earth. He brought it up to me, and of course I stood my ground, and there was debating his guys and going on. And I was also the Jesuit guy, but I'm more like, I feel like a handyman, and I'm like just involved in a lot of things. I work a regular job, and to me, I was like, let me get you who I think is the best. And that's when I was like, let me get you Dave Weiss to come on and do a flat Earth show. Let me get you Johnny Cerrucci to talk about the Jesuits. And to me, there's like, we need people like you that it's just every day. I mean, and I have no problem like just promoting you as the flat Earth guy, and
I appreciate it, and I'm here to wake up new people. Now, don't get me wrong. Everyone has their own technique, and God bless everyone, right? Everyone keep doing what you're doing, but just wake up some people. Like Eric Dubay, he absolutely has never spoken to me, and he absolutely hates me. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's
Really?
crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
what you
It's
remember I told you I did a show with him and he wouldn't air it, and it
Yeah,
was
because you mentioned
I'm
me. Right. And I promote, like, this is his book. This is his book. It's a great book. Everyone go order this book from Eric Dubay. It's on Amazon, Flat Earth FAQs. Put it on your coffee table. Anyone that picks it up you'll have it's filled with flat Earth stuff. Open any page and you'll turn someone into a flat earther. You know why I promote it? Because it's a good book. Right?
Yes.
It's a good book. Right? So look, kids book. I even have his kids book here.
Wow.
Yeah. By the way, I'm the one that convinced him to make either his first book or make this into a kid's book, whatever. And that's a whole nother story. But he hates me. Where was I going with that story though?
about promoting each other.
Yeah, no. Yeah, this is where I was going. And listen, I'm not really criticizing him because he's inspiring a lot of other flat earthers to go do things. But his videos go out and they go to flat earthers, right? I don't care about you guys, right? I love you guys, but I don't care about you. I care about the people that don't know the earth is flat. That's why I'll go on a podcast that has 1,000 subscribers on it. Or, I'll go on that because I'm waking up new people. Because once you wake up to this, sure, come learn more, but I'm done with you. Move on. I'm going to other people. So it's waking up people. That's what I care about, right?
Dave,
I'd rather do a podcast with 20 people listening that think flat Earth is the dumbest thing ever than 10,000 flat Earthers listening.
Yeah, Dave, you were on David Rodriguez a couple
A
years
bunch
ago.
of times, a whole bunch of times.
Okay. And your first time on his show, I believe you convinced him the Earth was flat.
Absolutely, but then
have you been in touch with him?
Yeah, well,
because he seemed to have shied away from it a little bit, but I think he just says he's not sure, right? Is that
because he has astronauts on that. Let me just pull up. He has astronauts on. He has that old astronaut guy that actually believes he went to the moon.
Oh God. Yeah.
There's one. I know I'm on it a whole bunch of times. I have there's a whole bunch of times, and he got pissed at me when Charlie Kirk psyop happened. Here we go. These are all the times I've been on with David, right? And
because he's like friends with Kash Patel, or not friends, but he believes like Kash Patel is like a white hat or something,
right? And he believes that Charlie Kirk was this great Christian. I mean, please check out my Charlie Kirk videos. You can find them on stoplookthink.com. I don't want to get into it on YouTube, but I was pointing out to him that he's missing the ball, and he's just like, stop. So he just doesn't want to look at things. There's people coming around. There's a lot of people that were huge Trump fans, the trust the plan. And now they're coming around, SGT report. Yeah. Actually, I'm going on with SGT report this week. Did I put it on my calendar? Shit. I think it's on Wednesday.
What about Eddie Bravo? Have you
Eddie's fantastic. I've done many shows with him. Him and I were on InfoWars. The last time I was on InfoWars in studio with Eddie, it was their highest live broadcast ever in 25 years.
Wow.
Highest viewed live broadcast ever. Now, there's two reasons. One, Flat Earth is awesome. Eddie's awesome. The other reason, besides me being awesome, is it was the Trump indictment day, the day Trump got indicted. So we had a lead in. We were literally the sitcom after the Super Bowl. So we had a great lead in and a great topic. And it was the highest. All the producers came running in. They're like, look at the numbers, right? And it was crazy. But Alex Jones, controlled, total moron.
Yeah.
In it for the money, promoted by the system.
He claims he knows for a fact that we went to the moon, right? He said that on, I believe it was Joe Rogan's
I never
podcast.
heard that. Never heard that. Joe Rogan used to be the poster boy for we never went to the moon and there's nothing you can say that will ever convince me. Then he goes on vacation. He has Neil deGrasse Tyson on and he's like, oh yeah, maybe we went to the moon. And he gets a $200 million contract. Weird. Just weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Joe puts out some good content, but he's a gatekeeper for the truth of our world.
Yes. And it's all about hide. Again, it's not just that they don't care if people think the earth is flat. They don't want people to believe in God over government, right? Isn't that what it comes down
that's
to?
the bottom. That's literally
hiding
the bottom
evidence
line.
of a creator, because if we start to realize that we are all guided by a higher power, has nothing to do with our government, people are going to stop obeying and stop listening to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you can't control people. That's why they literally at birth, they commoditize us. They give us our birth certificate. They poison us, turning us into a human pincushion. And then they literally start programming us before we can talk into the ball, right? Yeah. Your parents probably put a mobile of a planet system over your head, you have NASA's bed sheets and pajamas and dinosaurs. And they want you disconnected from who we really are. This place was an incredible spiritual, energetic, resonating system. And now there's a lot of, destruction in it, but it still works.
Depression. That's why you got so many people so depressed, suicide at the highest rates.
Well, think about it. Your soul comes here and they want to remember, but the programming here is so strong. The news is steering your mind, northeast, west, south news. And you're lost in your soul. Say, come on, go this way. We're in this game. Let's go. And you're lost in the sauce. And after a while, if you're really lost, if you're really off your path is like, think of it like a stream. It goes this way. If you're really going off course, your soul just kind of gives up and you lose your motivation and you become depressed. And I've seen flat earth, the awakening to flat earth in the old world, lift people out of depression, out of drug addiction. They've literally, were trying to get off drugs their whole life. And now, boom, they wake up and they're like, oh, I don't need that anymore. Right? Life is a drug. Go outside. I mean, have you looked into biogeology? Biogeology. What the hell is that? Right? Hold on. Go back.
That woman you interviewed, that older woman in the
Ruth.
nursing home.
Ruth.
Yeah. She was crying with joy when you confirmed her knowledge about flat Earth.
Yeah. Biogeology, Mike Wickerson. This is where mountains are not just tree stumps; they're titans. Have you looked into that, Vinny?
Oh yeah.
I'm friends with who I think is the best guy and been doing so long. This is Roger from Mudflood University.
Okay.
I actually just was on the phone with him yesterday. I'm setting up another show with him.
So Mike, and I had met him at a conference years ago, and he's like, "Here, watch this video about this mountain this mountain that looks like an elephant." And I'm like, watch it. I'm like, yeah, pareidolia, it's all right. Some interesting points, but not really. And then he goes, here, watch part 2. And finally I watched part 2 and I'm like, huh. Then he goes, here's part 3. And I'm like, mother effer. I'm like, and then part 4, I'm like, I can't even go outside anymore. Right? I go walk through the woods. It ain't the same as it was as a kid. I mean, it's more interesting. Right? And the giant trees. Yep. Holy moly.
Yep.
Have you Hangman 1127 or whatever his channel is? He's amazing. He's right. If you go to the old world section, and the giant trees right here, bam.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right. It'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind.
Right.
There's so much stuff.
It's so good, and that's why Satan didn't want the Book of Enoch out there too, because the Book of Enoch hits on the giants, the Nephilim, the fallen, the Watchers. And the illuminaries. See, he couldn't have that in there in the Bible. And
they don't want
a whole bunch
about
of other
portals.
books. Yeah, a whole bunch of other books like that it opens up a whole nother can of worms in this.
Right.
And Dave, you should come every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We do a Bible study, but it's not like a traditional Bible study. We talk about just a lot of the stuff we're talking about here, right? We go into the Book of Enoch and some really amazing things. So feel free to tune in. I'll send you a link after this if you're interested.
Cool. our struggle is not with flesh and blood; it's with spiritual forces. People, how do you win a spiritual war? You convince people that it's nonsense, that it's not such a thing. We're in it, whether you believe it or not.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, this is
I
so fun.
told you guys, for the people who doubted Dave, man, like you should see, this is what I see in Dave. Dave is a great guy who believes in God. Everybody,
Dave.
I mean, he's a good guy, and
Yeah.
Yeah,
you always
Dave.
Yeah, Dave, you always have this patience with people when you're in the debates. You're just cool. You have this easy to entreat, easy to just
You know what it is? It's because when you know that you're right. Now that sounds crazy. Like, everyone thinks they're right. No, we know that we're right.
We know that it's flat. Yeah.
And it's like when somebody brings up like that thing with the airplane, how come the heading changes? He said it to me. Like I was like, what's the angle? I couldn't figure it out in my head without looking at a map. And I was just like, I know the answer is going to be a flat earth answer. And I just put it together and there it is. There it is. It's like, there's nothing they can come up with. People are like, I got a flat earth proof. I want the Bitcoins. I'm like, just send me your proof and I'll show you how you're wrong. I want the Bitcoin in escrow. I'm like, just send me your damn proof. And then they send it to me. They're like, pendulums, it's just like, I'm like, really?
Right. Yeah, man, you're so gentle and patient with those guys. Like the best debate I saw was with that physicist guy. You were on with somebody else, and
which one?
With
the guy that agreed with us.
Yeah, did he get converted at the end? Was
right
he that
there?
Guy?
He's there. Yeah, he's there. But he walked away because, let me tell you, the trolls got to him. The trolls contacted him at work, contacted him. They were like, just causing problems. And he's like, I get it. He goes, but it's just not advantageous for me, basically saying he's concerned about his career, to push it. Right. People still need to make a living. Right. The Qantas airline pilots all know the earth is flat, but they don't talk about it publicly because they love their cushy pilot jobs.
Yeah. And Jesus says, you got to count the cost. Jesus says we have to forsake all and be willing.
I walked away from it all. Yeah. I walked away from everything I worked my entire life for. I walked away from things that people wish they could do. And I walked away from it all to do what I felt was right. And I know is right. And I love it. And here's the thing. I work harder now than I've ever worked in my life. It's Sunday. This is my third podcast today. I don't work on Sundays. Okay. Right. But I do this all the time because I love it. Right. Wow. And it's important. And the number one thing is waking people up. Yep. Right. So if this podcast wakes up one person, I love it. Or if somebody sees it and they wake up one person, it's a win. It's a win. And there's no doubt that it will.
And it is.
Sorry, go ahead, Grady.
No, well, it's the time of harvesting right now. Like there is people who their eyes are getting open, and anything can happen. Like the Epstein files or Israel or all these different things. People are like, "Whoa, something's not right," and it's like a lot of people are waking up. It takes time. Some people, it's a process of years, but people.
I heard a theory on the Epstein files is all of Congress and everybody. They're all pedivores. They allowed this war to start because of the Epstein files. They needed the files to go away, so they allowed the war to start. And now 95% of the interest in the files is gone. So the files were used to get consent to go to war.
Yeah. Wow. Wag the dog again, right?
Yeah.
Was it like he cheated or something? That's why they had to make the fake war and wag the dog?
Yes, I forget. I gotta watch. I gotta watch it again. I gotta watch it again.
Dave, are you familiar with iPetGoat?
Oh yes.
Go-to.
Oh yes.
You seen the stuff about Iran and that and the Strait of Hormuz? It's all in that animated movie. Like it's like this must have been planned years ago.
Oh, this is way
decades ago. Yeah.
If you looked at the Illuminati card game, the card deck, everything's in it. Now I envision the elite. They've got their card game. They're all sitting around a table and they're playing cards. So they end up with the cards, and the guy's like, "Oh, I've got the Boston bombing. I've got this. And they have the cards. Oh, nice. You got the decks." And they literally create these things over decades, over generations to happen. Yeah. I mean, that's just one thought. I remember there was a store called Caldor's where I lived, and it was kind of like your appliance and buy records and groceries, and the toy section. As a kid, I used to love going in the toy section, and I was a young teenager, I think, or whenever it was, and I saw this new card deck. It was Illuminati card deck. And I looked at it, I'm like, this is cool. What the hell is that? I couldn't quite figure it out, but it was like $30. I'm like, that's expensive for a freaking card deck, and I didn't buy it.
Oh wow,
I only
that
got
was probably
two
worth
decks.
30,000.
Yeah.
They're worth a lot. They're hard to get. I only
You
got
have two?
but there's a lot more that I haven't been able
Yeah.
to get. But
Oh, it's like
yeah,
a
I
whole
do.
collection.
Yeah,
I
it's like
see.
a
Okay.
collection.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
crazy.
Dave,
I
I
wonder if
was
I'm
just
in
going to
there.
ask you.
I wonder if I'm in there.
There's a picture, yeah.
Go
The
ahead.
picture, yeah.
I was going to ask you about the airplane, the windows, because a friend of mine, a really good friend of mine, still not on board with the Earth being flat, and he said, "Yeah, but I was in a plane and I could see the curvature," and I said, "That's because the glass is curved." And I said, "Do you ever wonder why the windows are so small on the airplanes? It's right; they don't want people to see. They don't want us to see too much. Is that true?"
Well, yes and no, because how big can you make the windows, air pressure, and whatnot. But one, the windows are curved, so that'll curve it a little bit. That's one thing. The other thing is it's the way we see, right? So if you're here, you see the same distance in all directions, right? You don't see farther. You don't see. Hold on, where is it? Like you see in the same direction, the same distance in all directions. So if I draw a straight line across here, that's a straight line, but you don't see the line here. You only see the horizon here. So you see a circle. There's your
Oh,
curvature.
right. Yes.
There's your curvature. There's your curvature.
Yep. It's our perspective. It's not what's actually there. Yeah.
Right. Where is it?
Well, I remember that was one of the first things I said to Killer when I did that show. I was like, Killer, I know you're on flights all the time, going on planes. I said, look out the window, and you're gonna see that the horizon is always like at eye level, and you don't see a curve. Even being up in a plane, you're not gonna see this curved ball that you're on.
Yeah.
You don't. You see
Hold on.
And if you do,
horizon,
it's
eye
because
level.
the glass is like, it's almost like a fisheye
Yeah, almost like a
lens type
fisheye
of
lens
glass.
on the outside.
But you see in a circle. If you have you're
Yes.
on ocean and you have unobstructed view from any height, you see the circle. Now, let me ask you a question. They say, why is it when you go up higher, you can see farther, right? You can see the sunset again if you go up the Khalifa, with the Burj Khalifa, whatever, in Dubai. So what they're saying, though, you have to think this through. If you go up higher, you can see over the ball more, correct?
I guess that's the ballist.
Well, that's the baller says. If you go higher, you can see the sunset again. That's why when they were celebrating the Jewish holidays, whatever, the sunset times are different for each floor of the hotel, because the higher you are, the sun sets later. Okay? Well, if you can see farther on a ball, you're seeing over the ball more, so the horizon should drop down, right?
Yep.
The horizon doesn't drop down. Go to the ocean, and if there's like a tall building or something or a cliff, right? Look at the ocean. You'll see the horizon at your eye level. Now go to the top, and the ocean will literally lift up, and it'll stay at your eye level. Why is it? You're getting higher. You can now see farther. It should be lower, but it actually rises up. It always stays at your eye level.
Yeah.
It's actually 6 feet below your eye level if you're 6 feet tall, but it looks like it's at your eye level.
Yeah. And
Yep.
Dave, is it true that the solar eclipse, it's not possible on any model, right? So is that a case of like portals? Like how can the moon pass directly in front of the sun if it's always chasing it around? Does that even work on a circle?
I don't think the moon is responsible for the eclipse.
Yeah,
I don't think the moon is what's causing the eclipse. But let's look at eclipses for a second, because I have some interesting observations, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, if this is, again, this isn't to scale, but as the sun migrates in between the tropics, the moon is also migrating in between the tropics. And after a certain number of rotations, they'll come together and you'll have your eclipse where they cancel each other out. But a new moon, is it really there? Is it really there? So they'll come together at certain times and certain cycles, and they repeat again and again and again. So there's your eclipse. So what I wanted to show you was, so this is a solar eclipse.
Yeah. Where's the shadow? Where's
No. Where's the moon?
Right.
I just see missing sky.
Yeah.
I see missing sun. Right.
Right.
Where's the moon? I see missing sun. You could imagine that's the moon.
Yeah.
You could imagine that's the moon, but I just see missing sun.
Yes.
Where's the moon? You can imagine there's the moon. Well, the sun, the side of the moon is dark and the sun is blinding you. Cool story. I like it. But from the Earth's point of view, from the moon's point of view, if you were on the moon right here, you would see a full Earth, just like we see a full moon, right? And so the Earth's shine should light up the moon, just like the moon shine lights up the Earth, but it would be even more so because the Earth is bigger and more reflective. You with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
so why
a lot of times where the glare
is
still there.
But when the sun is completely or blocked out, when it's even fully blocked out and there's no ring of fire, how come the Earth shine doesn't light up the moon? How come we can't see it with an infrared camera? How come we haven't seen it from the International Fake Station? Right? We don't. So that's a problem. So this is what I theorize. So
yes,
you've seen that. You've seen this, right? Have you guys seen this, Tony? Who hasn't seen this?
I haven't seen that. No.
All right. So Tony, this is a real eclipse that I filmed, and the sky was very milky, hazy, chemy. It was just little where I could film without any glare, right? And then here is a paper towel with I am projecting through a tube a circle of light, and I'm eclipsing it with a Snapple bottle cap. Can you see my Snapple bottle cap?
No.
You can't. You just see missing sun. Yep. So I think the sun that we see is an apparent sun. So this is an eclipse that we filmed. It's about 85, 95% eclipsed, but it's just so bright it's still blowing out the lens. But the eclipse is about this phase. But we see this, and we see this. Now, this is a lens flare because it's moving around, but this one is locked to the sun. It's not moving. So it's not a lens flare. What is it? And I say, this is the real sun above or in the firmament.
Yes.
Right? And this is the apparent sun that we see in our personal atmospheric dome. And you never really see this because the sun's always too bright. But during an eclipse, the light is much reduced and we're able to see through the sky. Just like at night, we can see the stars because the sky isn't illuminated. It's not as opaque. So we can see the stars. Right? So here's my experiment. So I've got my eclipse and I'm moving it. We're not seeing the bottle cap move away. I'll just show you it is from a side view. So here's my projector and I'm projecting onto this paper towel sky. And here's my Snapple bottle cap coming in. You don't see it over here. You just see missing sun, just like in the sky when we see it. Missing sun, missing sun, right? The source of the projection is here. The sun we see is here. Okay? So here is the source of projection. Now I said, wait a minute, maybe the sky is more transparent. And so instead of paper towel sky, I use toilet paper sky, right? Thinner. Here's the source behind the firmament, the sky. There's the source. And when we compare it to what I really saw in the sky, both are the same. Right? Actual eclipse. This is the source projecting into the sun that we see. And here's the model eclipse. This is projecting into the sky, the sun that we see.
Yes. And Enoch even hits on that. I was going to mention that. I love that.
So what is the bottle cap?
The bottle cap is the body, could be the moon. Maybe it's another body. I don't know.
A luminary body.
It's a luminary that is behind the sun that we see in front of the source sun.
Gotcha. Okay.
right?
And
And by the way, that works on both models, mine and Vinny's model.
and
Yeah.
the and you so the real sun, the one which in your model is the flashlight, the source of the light, is that within the firmament, or you're saying
So the
it's
Bible
No,
says the
in the
sun is in the firmament, right? And so
Yep.
people say, well, the sun that's not in the firmament. Let me ask you a question. When you put your milk in the refrigerator, do you put it in the refrigerator or you put it under the refrigerator?
I put it in the refrigerator, I
Okay.
think.
And where are you? You live on the floor of the kitchen. You're looking up at the firmament and the milk is in the firmament. It's not under the firmament. So when
Yep.
God says he put the sun in the firmament, he didn't put it under the firmament. We're under the firmament. The sun is
Yep.
in the firmament.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's right.
And
And you would
speaking
agree
of,
too, Dave, real quick. Sorry, Tony,
no, it's
that
okay.
these aren't even physical objects like most want to believe. Like
Yeah.
they're more like holographic, plasma, whatever you want to. Would you agree with that? That's how I see it. They're not even.
I think that they're projections,
Yep.
plasma,
Yeah.
spiritual,
Supernatural light.
supernatural.
Supernatural.
Yeah,
Yeah.
supernatural. Right? It's not something that we can go land on and walk around and play golf.
And Dave, what's your thought on them changing the sun or messing with the sun? Because I can tell you without even doing any research, the sun that we have today is not the way it used to be.
So
It's white
so
and
think
it's
about it. Think about this. If I'm right, the sun is in the firmament, above the firmament, and we see the projected sun. Where's that sun being projected? It's being projected into our opaque sky, into our sky screen. What have they done with our sky screen? They've changed
Yeah,
it.
they sprayed it.
It's
They've
sprayed.
sprayed.
So now it's manifesting. It's being projected onto a different screen.
okay.
Yeah, and
So they-
in Enoch, it talks about how in the latter days the courses are going to get messed up, or messed with, and change.
Wow.
Yeah. Great. This
And-
is an amazing time. This is amazing. Like you ever play a shoot 'em up video game? You go in, right? And
Yeah.
you got gorillas chasing you and the army guys and they're shooting at you and you're having all these obstacles and stuff, right? That's why you bought the game. That's why you played the game, right? So if you're going to come here and have this human experience in our avatar suits, having this what do you want? Well, I want wars. I want pedivore people running my country. I want craziness. I want nuts, right? And
Yeah.
I want all the good stuff too. I want all the contrast, and I want the ability to change it with my mind. That's crazy, but I can.
Yeah. No, and that's why I also, with us being like short season people, I don't think there's a more interesting time to be alive. Um, as to like what you just said. I mean, all the craziness. Uh, I'm grateful to be alive
God
during
chose
this.
us. God chose us to be here for this
Yeah.
time. And I don't know what that message was. Dave, another question. What do you think about land beyond? Have you heard that? Have you heard that the moon is a map? It's a reflection. It's an inverted reflection of the Earth. What are your thoughts on that?
So we just type in map. So here is the moon map.
Yeah.
And it matches the prog clock. Have you seen that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the prog clock, this is the original prog clock, right? You kind of have this moonish map back here. They changed the prog clock.
Yep.
They changed it. It's now is this the one? Nope, it's still there. I have to clock. Hold on.
And sorry, Grady, to cut you off. I want you to go back to what you had pulled up. I just that question's been on my mind the whole time, and I just remembered it. That
Yeah.
I wanted to know what Dave thought about.
Now they changed it to
ice
this.
wall.
They changed it to that. Right? Before
Oh wow!
Yeah.
and now
Yeah.
and after. And why so that's telling right there. But and as far as other maps, I think there is something behind that moon map. I'm on board. I wouldn't hang my hat on it there, but I'd definitely I'd bet on it at this point. That's
Right.
somewhat. And then again, this map being published in 1907 in a Hawaiian newspaper. That's weird.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Yeah, that's weird.
Hey, that's a square right there, Vinny.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There's your four corners of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
Going
Interesting.
going back to what you were saying earlier, Dave, about the like with them going to Antarctica and you hearing people about this ridiculous technology and certain things being out there.
yeah.
I'm someone who believes that there is more land being hidden, and for the millennial kingdom, they talk about like this city, New Jerusalem, where Jesus and the saints reign. And me, I've had this feeling for a while now that that's what's actually out past Antarctica where we're
Oh,
allowed to
I
see in
I
Antarctica.
think I think that our world leaders all go to Antarctica to get their marching orders from the real
The dark
controllers
side.
of this world. Who knows? Could be the Nephilim. It could be the giants. Who knows? Uh,
Yeah, I think
it,
that ties into a lot of where we get into with the whole short season stuff.
yeah, it's
That
it's it's
whether
amazing.
north or south, people have different views. A lot go with the north. I think that it could possibly be Antarctica. So,
Mm-hmm.
In Admiral Byrd's journal, he said he met someone where in the was it Antarctica? And he said he met someone
Antarctica.
called the Master, right?
Oh,
yeah,
that didn't that come out after he died?
It
yeah, I
was
think
his son.
his son released it and people question it, but yeah, I mean,
He also
Yeah,
met people in the north, apparently. Both.
Yeah, yeah.
Both
yeah,
spots. Yeah.
right.
Interesting.
And he's got the flat Earth clock behind him.
Yep.
Looks a little bit like
Yeah.
the Prague clock.
Was
Um,
he controlled, you think? Was Admiral Byrd kind
well,
of derailing us with a little bit of truth, but kind of pushing us in the wrong
was it
direction?
revelation of the method? Is everything he said true? I couldn't tell you, but he did say there's land bigger than America at the north, at the south, beyond the South Pole. Well, that would be in between Australia and Africa, and I think somebody would notice that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
That's why I just feel like maybe the camp of the saints is out there, and the advanced technology is these saints and heavenly beings with the super advanced technology that we're not allowed to know about. They're trying to re-engineer and figure out some of this stuff. Um, the Nazis were. This has been going on for a long time.
And portals too. I think portals play a bigger role in this world than they'll let us know about. Maybe that's how they're traveling. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because then again, it's that this supernatural realm we're in that
Yeah.
they want you to think you're just some monkey in this physical prison.
yeah, it's wild. When people say that the moon map is a reflection of the Earth, I don't think that's the right word. That's like saying monkey's DNA is a reflection of our DNA. It's part of the same system, right? I don't think it's a reflection. I think it's more of there's a connection, if you will.
I
And
like
I
that, Dave.
and I look at the moon as and it's me and others, um, is the moon delivers and removes souls from this plane that we're on. It's part of the transfer from our non-physical selves to our physical selves.
Hmm.
Maybe,
Interesting.
Interesting.
yeah. Lots of ancient cultures that talk about that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And Grady, did you had something pulled up a couple minutes ago?
Yeah, I was just because you mentioned the little season again. I had this just Revelation 20 just spells it out here. He saw a messenger come down out of heaven, having the key to the abyss, the great chain over his hand. He laid hold of the dragon, who's the old serpent, who is the devil, and adversary. Adversary means Satan, and did bind him 1,000 years. And so he's cast into the abyss for 1,000 years, shut him up, put a seal upon him that he may not deceive the nations or lead astray the nations anymore till the 1,000 years are finished. After these, he's loosed for a little time or for a short age, a little season of deception. And it possibly is 400 years, out of second Esdras. He kind of lays it out there for us in second Esdras.
Yeah, he does say 400 in that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
What about
so,
the
like,
Statue of Liberty
yeah, it's a statue of Lucifer, of Apollo.
Lucifer.
with
That's
the
why a lot of
chain?
people say 1776 might have been the date where the devil Statue of
Hmm.
Liberty, devil coming, the chain, like you just said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I thought France donated that statue to us because we give people liberty.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Liberty from God. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was liberty from the reigns of the millennial kingdom.
All right,
Uh-huh.
I think.
It's
Vinny, here's a
Satan's
question.
liberty out of the abyss.
Here's a question I've been asked.
Yeah.
Tell me something that's not a conspiracy.
Everything's a conspiracy. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
And
right.
that's why we think we're in the little season because
Yeah.
I use
everything is a lie.
I used to
Everything is.
say that Sully landed the plane on the Hudson River, but that's not true either.
Yeah, man, everything's a lie. And
Yeah.
so and then it mentions the 1,000 year, like they did not so so they reign with Christ for 1,000 years, the resurrected saints. And then after the 1,000 years is over, when the 1,000 years are finished, the adversary, Satan, will be
When was it
loosed out of
finished?
okay. The
Well, that's the thing. We don't know. 1776. Some people want to say some, you know,
like the
1500.
15 or 1600s, but see, the timeline's been altered. Like, we cannot trust our history. Even, a lot of what my lunch break shows, he shows empty cities, just empty, these
Empty.
pictures of empty cities in the 1800s. So it's like,
Yeah.
what is going on?
Yep.
And so the adversary, Satan, is loosed out of his prison. He goes forth to lead the nations astray, or deceive the nations, depending on what translation you use, and that are in the four corners of the earth, or quarters of the earth, corners of the earth, Gog and Magog. There's a lot of theory on what Gog and Magog is, to gather them together for battle, for war, of whom the number is as the sand of the sea. And they go up over the breadth of the land, or the plane of the land. It actually, another way to interpret that, the plane
It doesn't
of the
say the
land.
ball. It doesn't say the
Right,
ball of
right.
the land.
And he did surround the camp of the saints. So there's hidden land maybe somewhere.
there
Maybe
has to
it's
be.
it's in the ocean. And he surrounds the holy city, which is potentially the New Jerusalem, and there came fire from God out of heaven and devoured them. So that is like where we are in our age. That's the reason for the lie, the deception. The deception is intense.
And
And
that's why the
Satan,
churches are teaching this, right, Grady? Like,
that's right.
even these good, like, honest people in these little small town Christian churches, this is a taboo subject. You talk about, hey, did the millennial reign already happened? And they literally just tell you, like, that's not true, that, be quiet. We don't talk about that here. So even the Christian churches are being, deceived.
Hmm.
Maybe unintentionally in some cases, but maybe in some cases intentionally.
That's right. Because he says right here, John, he says the time is at hand. Okay. In Revelation 22, to end the book, the time is at hand. Let's find it here. And okay, the time is nigh. The time is at hand. John says the time is at hand, to even at the beginning of the book. And Jesus said, this generation will not pass away. He's talking to them before all these things come to pass. He's talking about, he even references the prophecy in Daniel, the desolation that causes, the abomination that causes desolation. Talks about it in Daniel. Daniel's prophecy syncs with Revelation. And then Jesus says, this generation will not pass away until all these things be fulfilled. God tells Daniel, 500 years before Jesus was Daniel, God told Daniel to seal up the words of this prophecy, because the time is many years. Seal up the words of this prophecy, for this time is many years in the future. But here, right here, we see, okay, I'm going to find it. God's orders to John are exactly reversed. He tells John, do not seal up the words of this prophecy, because the time is at hand.
Yeah. Not 2,000 years later or 1,000
Right
years.
here. Yep.
And Dave,
And
we believe the Antichrist at that time was Caesar Nero, who in gematria would add up to 666. And we feel that these prophecies did happen back then.
The mark
Yeah.
of the beast was possibly you had to worship the statue, right? To buy or sell, you had to like worship a gold
Yeah.
statue or something.
Yeah, basically worship Nero to be able to buy or sell.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right. Right here, verse 10 of 22. Do not seal up the words of this prophecy because the time is at hand. The time is now.
Yeah, not
But
futurism.
2,000 years later, all of a sudden we have Israel coming up out of nowhere in 1949. It's
48,
all a
yeah.
deception.
Yeah, I feel like, Dave, that they've recently created this to have this fake end times event that's going to, play into a deceiving and trying to destroy the religions, the three, Abrahamic, Jewish, Christian, Muslim. If you have a fake end times event and it doesn't play out the way everybody thought, that's their opportunity to turn around and say, hey, enough with this, enough with Christian, Jew, Muslim. We got aliens, we got this and that, we got science. And kind of have their new religion that they want to form, like this one world pagan religion.
That's right. The Project Bluebeam,
And
all
and
that.
and another point too, Dave, that means a lot to me too, is if the saints didn't like get glorified and come back with Jesus, you got all these things all over, especially America and South America, that are named after saints. Like
Yep.
there's stuff all about the saints everywhere. They're digging up Greek mosaics for Saint Peter and Saint, there's just tons of evidence
And
that,
there's thousands of writings about
yeah.
these saints and how important they were all over the world, not
And,
just in
and
one
why would they be
place.
important if Jesus never came back? If none of these prophecies fulfilled, if the saints weren't glorified, why would we have all that? And
Yeah.
and like,
Christianity probably would have died if Jesus did not complete the millennial reign. Who's to
yeah,
say that
and
Christianity would even be alive today?
and the whole world turned Christian, every nation,
Yeah.
until recently, to where now you have the devil let loose who's deceiving all the nations into, you know, transgender and all this craziness going on. And it's happened fast. Like
Yeah.
you showed that woman Ruth, I have Dave, my mom's uncle, he's 102 years old. And he didn't say much about flat Earth to me, but he did remember the orphan trains, so he was able to verify that that's
Ask
true.
him about airships also.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
in a couple months, I'm actually gonna be with my mom and them, and I'm gonna do a call. I want to record it because
After I did the Ruth interview in 2020, uh, I said I started. It went viral. It got uploaded to hundreds of channels, and I
mhm,
said we need to go to old age homes now and start talking to these people that are
before they're
centenarians,
gone.
right
Yeah,
before they're gone. And a week later, they locked down all the nursing homes in the world. Nobody can go.
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
point. Yeah, no, I definitely, from what you do in that Roots video, I want to do that with my 102-year-old great
Yeah,
uncle. And I'll
it's
definitely
crazy.
ask about the airships, like you said.
We found people in the 1950s that were being taught flat Earth and globe Earth.
Hmm.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it's wild.
Mhm.
All right, boys. Anything
I
else?
love you. Dave,
Thank you.
I pray for you. I pray that you continue on
I'm doing
with
my
your work,
best.
that,
Thank you.
man, Jesus is with you and that you hear his voice and he keeps helping you through. You've been awesome. Really
Thank you,
appreciate
Dave.
you.
Yeah, Dave, thank you so much for coming on the channel. Really appreciate it. And I'll send you the link to our weekly Bible study if you're interested in checking it out.
Cool. Thanks, man. I appreciate
Dave,
it.
thank you so
All
much,
right.
Dave. You're the man.
FlatEarthDave.com.
Yes.
You're the man.
All right, guys. See you around.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
See ya.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
The power of affirmations is transformative. When you repeat a thought, your mind listens. What you say consistently, your subconscious begins to accept. What it accepts, it starts to look for. And what it looks for, it begins to create. Daily affirmations train your mind to synchronize with these thoughts. Your focus shifts. Your perception changes. Your actions begin to align naturally. This is not pretending. This is conditioning your inner dialogue to work for you. Daily affirmations are now available on the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. To see all affirmations together, search Daily Affirmations. To focus on unconditional love, search love. For health and vitality, search health. And for abundance and prosperity, search wealth. Read these every day, out loud if you can. Then allow the process to work and watch how your life begins to transform.